Alright guys, let's get this rolling. I should have started this like 10 minutes sooner, but I don't know. I never do anything on time. We do the best we can. Okay, so we are going to jump into the second match of Group A here. Gonna be Team 0 versus Team aCe. You know, for this match, 0 had some personal stuff going on and he couldn't make the game, so they had Lei sub in for him. So I think it's Lei and Johnek versus aCe and Hydra today. I'll post the link to the group maybe after the first match or something. Let some more people have kind of filtered in. I'll just post it between games or something. You guys can kind of keep up with the scores and stuff so far. But yeah, today's match is, like I said, it's Lei Johnek versus aCe Hydra. Lei Johnek representing Fighting Spirit and aCe Hydra representing aCe. So the first games will be on BGH today. And I'm gonna go ahead and jump into As you can see, I finally got an actual overlay, so you don't see the replays, so you don't see how many games there are, you don't see the time. And I made like a little overlay there to go over the replay timer as well, since I keep screwing that up. Hopefully, at least a little bit better. And as we do this and as we keep going on, I'll become a better caster and a better host for these matches as well. Bear with me in the meantime. We'll get there. But let's go ahead and jump into the first match here. I don't have like a proper transition, so we're just gonna poof over. Oh, there's a little bit of fade away. Actually, not too bad. Yeah, let's. Set up our D&D here. Alright, so first game here on BGH. I don't know what races people play, so we'll be kind of figuring this out ourselves as we go. But we do have Johnek here spawning at 3 o'clock as Terran. His teammate bottom left as Zerg is Lei, subbing in for 0. And they're against Hydra and aCe. Hydra spawning bottom right here as Zerg. aCe mid left as Protoss. We'll see kind of how they play this. It plays kind of similar, at least this race matchup. You would do like 9-pull mech, you see that a lot. I know on, I guess Fighting Spirit it can be a little bit different, you can play bio a lot as well. Holding this spot's actually really tricky, and I wouldn't expect someone to figure it out without having practiced it. You actually do depot. Depot placement's good, but the barracks actually needs to be a little bit further out. It's kind of unintuitive. If you get it in the right spot, the Marine will actually come out on this side, but if you're 1 pixel over to the left, it'll come out on the wrong side. So the barracks actually has to be kind of out this way a little bit more. So we'll see if he recognizes this. And Lei does seem to actually know, so he's trying to kind of coach him into a little bit. So Lei may be able to help him out here. This might actually be okay. I think this is okay. I'm actually not 100% on either. I do it right sometimes, but it always feels wrong. Once it's finished and I can see it, I'll be able to know for sure, but every time I do this, it feels wrong. I think actually the depot might have needed to be 1 more over, but this might be okay. I think this is okay, we'll see. Like I said, I'll know when I'm like looking at it when it's finished. It's always like really unintuitive. But he is going to play bio here. Hey, what's up, Flying? Lei does look like we were doing 9-pull here. Yeah, looks like a 9-pull. Maybe an overpull here from Hydra. 2 on gas. Definitely more... yeah, okay. I think it was an overpull and we're doing a creep colony. Sorry, what were you saying? Yeah, that's what I was saying, kind of looking at it. I feel like the depot actually needed to be one more over. So the depot actually needs to be one more over. The barracks placement is correct. The depot needs to be one more over. It doesn't look like it would be a wall, or it doesn't feel right, but it actually does wall correctly, and the Marines will come out on this side. But yeah, you can do the depot over one more, is actually correct. Like I said, even I struggle with it a fair amount. I don't really do it super often. I'm not really much of a waller myself. But we have the Lings coming in here for Lei, catching the Zealot here, actually getting a kill for 0 Lings. This is a really, really good start already. Forge coming down here for aCe. Lings coming out for Hydra now. But with these sunken, it kind of almost mitigates the overpool advantage that you kind of would have versus a 9 pool. And actually maybe even a little bit more damage, because you end up dumping the resources into this and the extra drone. So it's a lot of lost minerals, basically. And you end up on the same drone count. So Lei going with the extra hatchery as well, because he does not make the sunken. So definitely an advantage so far for Lei, and he did get the Zealot pick off like we said. We're on 2 racks production right now, Academy coming down. Yeah, a bit of a rough engagement here to start. Marines are going to get caught here, which is pretty painful. Lei intelligently runs past the Zealots, covering the Marines. You definitely want to protect the Marines as much as possible in this situation. Marines outscale these fights here, but they're relatively weak and vulnerable in the beginning, specifically to Lings. But as the Marine count builds up, they get really, really good at fighting off Lings trying to jump in for this round and things like that. Pretty good pullback there. Gets a few more Lings basically for free. Zealot count, we're just down to 2 Zealots right now. Some cannons up here. I'm not sure what we're planning on with this yet. Maybe just going to creep cannons all the way down to his base, but on BGH, this feels like a fastest strategy here. They are fastest players, so they're not going to be really well versed on this map. On BGH, the problem is you don't really have the income to kind of dump a bunch of cannons and continue production at home. Pushing the Lings back here for Hydra, and there's no Zealots here for aCe coming in behind. With only 1 sunken and a handful of Lings, we might actually be in a lot of trouble here. It's a pretty decent bio ball and a high Ling count. I think more Lings than Hydra here, as well as the extra Marines. Trying to drop the extra sunken, immediately gets picked off. Leaves a few Lings on the left side here to cover from Marines, so really, really good by Lei. Lei doing just a really good job in general protecting the bio ball and kind of soaking damage for them as they can get their DPS out. 2 Zealots coming in from behind here to try and help Hydra. Hatchery's going to get picked off. It looks like we're not going to jump on top of the sunken here. Just playing a little bit safer, kind of getting the guaranteed damage, not risking our units getting killed off. Lei once again doing a great job covering the Marines. Stem does finish for the bio as well, so we're going to clean all of this up really easily. This will leave the Marines left over. They won't be able to fight the sunken, but they can maybe hop down on the left side here, go around the mineral patch, things like that. I swear there it is, button to remove everything. Yeah, stimming in, 2 medics show up as well. Meanwhile, we have the cannons pushed down to block off the Terran finally. Things are going to cancel one of the forward cannons. Bio's going to stim in. At this point, you want to just go ahead and throw down a factory. With the Zealots here and these cannons, you're not going to be able to push through this with Bio anymore. Cannons coming up is going to cover this as well. So yeah, we immediately see... Oh no, we get an eBay. Okay. There's a factory. Okay, we got a factory coming down for Johnek now. That being said, Hydra in a whole lot of trouble. Main hatchery taking damage now. Getting pretty low. And not having enough Lings to fight these 4 Marines yet. We're going to go try with the drones and the Lings here. Do a little bit of a drill. Actually using the glitch, which we do have against the rules. We'll see if this ends up having an effect, because this is actually against the rules using this bug. We're not allowing that. But yeah, we'll see what the results of the match are, and if something needs to happen, we'll talk about it. Actually, looks like we were able to stem through. I guess the Lings came through and helped as well when he said go earlier. Yeah, it was stacked. That was the stacked bug. See. Jump to it again real quick. Yeah, see, this is the attack stack bug. Building units from flying buildings also mentioned in the rules. I'm not sure. I don't know if we mentioned in our rules or not. I think I've seen it in some rules for some tournaments, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, so we have the stem bio here. It's going to clean up these lings with a medic here as well. So we're continuing to trade really well. Hydra's very, very weak right now. We're just down to just 7 drones. Lei also only 8 himself. But we're on 2 hatch production. We have the 2 sunkens here. I think the mining's going to be a little bit messed up. Yeah. This hatchery is kind of, or this geyser's a bit of a pain for Zerg because it does tend to want to return here. So you actually end up needing like a 3rd hatchery here. It's kind of a nuisance. I'm trying to rebuild our cannons and repush here, but we're gonna have tanks coming out relatively soon. Meanwhile at home, Cybercore just finished for aCe. Hydra going into a 2nd hatchery, and it looks like we're just kind of pumping drones now. Lei is also making his own drones. It's going up to 11 drones is pretty good. Telling him to tech, so they're just gonna start playing a little bit safe. I think this is a really good call from Lei. They have pretty much a kind of an early game advantage here, so turning around and going into tech and just using that to go into the mid game a bit better, I think is the right call. Ling's coming down into Hydra here, gonna pick off a couple drones and the sunken here. And at this point, any drone damage on Zerg is pretty massive. We're just down to 7 drones. Gonna jump on top of the sunken. Not gonna be able to kill it. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to kill it. Does get it relatively low. But 7 drones left for Hydra, while we have Larry coming down for Lei. Tank out now, so we're gonna cancel these cannons and start getting pushed back. I like the forward bunker as well to cover the tank as we're pushing out. 2nd factory as well. Going bio tank. A man after my own heart. I love playing bio tank. That's the Templar Archives, so good scouting by Lei here as well. He's set up pretty well defensively, so with this counterattack, he should be relatively fine. Like, we have Lings as well as the 2 sunkens placed in here. Pretty good SimCity. Gonna push this back, and they can actually push down to Hydra if he chooses to. Kind of going towards the middle here. Maybe looking to help his teammate or just kind of hold middle, but Lei should be perfectly fine, I think. The SimCity is really hard for Toss to break through. You got basically a single file here, a single file here. And aCe recognizing that, turns back around, decides not to go in. Meanwhile, getting counter pushed. We have DT on the way here with 2 DT. Scans saved up. Okay, we have a full 200 energy for scans. Almost fastest players want to go last stack. Yeah, that was part of the issue. They wanted it because they were saying that it's, I guess allowed for their maps because they need it for holding pushes, but I personally am not a fan. But I guess it's just what they're used to. Tries to build a turret here, does get picked off by the cannon, but we have the Overlord flying in. But we did also kill all the gateways, and GG's actually going to get called, and Lei and Johnek will actually take game 1 on BGH here. Bolt not affected, exactly. Pick the right. Alright. Alright. Just looking at the TL right now. But it doesn't look like going up on the list. A little bit late joining. Can you give a short presentation about this tournament? I sure can. And give a little bit of a summary here. So basically the way this worked is we pulled 2 teams from the 3 different communities, being Fighting Spirit, or like low money, Fastest, and BGH. Did I do it fine? Okay. I just didn't see myself on the list, but not important, I guess. As long as it's there. As long as it's working. But yeah, so we took 2 teams from each community, and then we did 2 groups, 1 from each community. So yeah, 1 BGH Fastest and low money in one group, and then 1 of each in the other group as well. And then we are doing a best of 3 round robin. It's a round robin, and it's a best of 3 on each map. So it'll be a best of 3 on BGH, and then a best of 3 on Fastest, and a best of 3 on Fighting Spirit. And then we're going to take the overall map score to get our 2 finalists, 1 from each group, and then they'll do another series for the finals. Tournament has a prize pool of, I think it was 250. Actually a pretty good prize pool. We kind of had like an anonymous donor, kind of sort of helped out a lot with the funding for it, so that was pretty cool. And then here's the results so far of the you want to see. I do plan on posting the individual videos. I guess towards the end of the tournament, I'll probably get around to it. I'm like really backlogged on my videos or my VODs, so I probably need to jump ahead and start uploading these. Enzo Metal, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to jump into game 2 here on BGH. Alright, spawning in the 12 o'clock position, we have Hydra as Zerg again. Teammate bottom right, aCe as Protoss. Lay spawning in at 3 o'clock as Zerg. Johnek as Terran at the 1 o'clock position. Same races as the game before. I will say this position for Johnek a little bit more vulnerable. So Lay is telling him to... So that was kind of the one thing. So there's 2 ways to wall, essentially. You can go for a full wall, but if you full wall, then your Marines spawn on the outside and they can't get on the inside very easily. So Lay saying to do depot right, barracks left, allows a pathway for Marines to come in. If you do depot top and barracks bottom right, like Lay's actually, or Johnek's doing, it's going to have your Marines spawn on the outside, and they can't get inside without lifting your barracks. So it can be very vulnerable to early pull plays and things like that, like cannon pushes. A little bit harder to defend. So we will see. One thing that does work for them though is the positioning is actually really good for Johnek and Lay. So even if Hydra goes for early pull timing, which this time we are doing 11 gas 10 pull. Maybe this is what we did last time as well. This actually may be what we did. But even if you went for like 9 pull or something like that, if Lay decided to go for 9 pull, we're actually going for a 9-9, which is definitely a very strong early game kind of play. But if we go for like a pull timing that would match 12 o'clock, because of the positioning, it's very easy for Lay to come up this pathway here on the left side and get to Johnek to help cover him. So positioning is pretty good for Lay and Johnek defensively. We're going to get bio again from Johnek. Lay, so 9-9 on BGH is just going to be really heavy Ling really early. It ends up being a pretty low eco build, but the Lings aren't much later than a 9 pull. I mean, it's a decent bit later, but you get that big early flux of, or influx of Lings. to get pretty early map control here. Spawning pool placement actually going to hurt the gas gathering just a little bit, but it's not too bad. So we start our speed here for Hydra. So Hydra's going to have a pretty big advantage on the speed timing. We'll have less link in the early game. The extra mobility obviously can be used to abuse, potentially. So it looks like we're doing the same build for Hydra. I think we did 11-10 last time as well for Hydra. Looks like we made maybe an extra drone hatchery coming down as well. So a little bit of adjustment from Hydra here. Actually cancels their key colony. Wants to reposition it. A little bit of adjustment from Hydra to get slightly more eco, which I think is the right call in this situation. Looking to check Johnek's wall here, but we're at 4 Marines with the SCVs as well in the wall, so we're not going to be able to get in there and do any damage. As I mentioned, you see the positioning here. Very easy for Lei to come up here to help his teammate if he wants. BGH is a map that I feel like spawn locations like very heavily influences how the game proceeds. There's the speed advantage here for Hydra. Pretty decent link count as well. If he engages, he might be able to take this off of Lei. But very good response from Johnek being down here already. Good job by them kind of syncing up their units here. We can micro here from Johnek as well. Zealots do get on top of them. Things coming in behind. We can micro here from aCe as well, chasing the Marines and able to get a lot of Marine kills here. Initially it was looking really good for Johnek, but aCe doing a good job of cleaning up a bunch of the Marines. That being said, the ling count for Hydra is reset, and we have a lot of ling for Lei, with a lot more building right now. Third hatch coming down for Hydra. So eventually this would outscale the 9-9, but we're in a little bit of danger. We do have the Sunken here, so we shouldn't take any damage. Sunken's placed in a way where it can cover everything as well. I think that's maybe why he moved the Sunken. Actually a good call overall, because if it was left here, this hatchery would be vulnerable here on the bottom side. A good adjustment by Hydra, moving that Sunken, realizing that that placement can come back to bite him. Meanwhile, aCe getting a defensive cannon, Cyber Core coming down on 2 gate. Zealot's kind of sitting here around mid, they're going to get jumped on. Looking to get a cannon up here. The thing about trying to cannon mid is even if we get cannons here, because of the positioning, they can't actually just go around here on the right side and play around that, and it doesn't actually help to protect Hydra any. Big links around here. Stem Bio here turning around to fight the Lings, but it's a lot of Ling coming in. The medics actually got separated because they were going to go help the Lings, so all the Bio's going to get cleaned up here, unfortunately, for Johnek, but we're going to have a lot of Lings left over for Lei. So Lei's 9-9 definitely paying off here in the early game. But the 3-hatch Hydra, or the 3-hatch Ling is kicking in for Hydra, so if they can get just one decent trade, his Ling count can take over the match a bit. That being said, Bio Ling can like crush through Zerg pretty easily, and the Zealot count from aCe being reset is a pretty dangerous situation for them, because he won't be able to help his teammate if he gets pushed here. Good split off here from Lei, gonna be able to fight these two Zealots while we're also fighting here at the top, chasing his Lings back. And just a few Lings tanking for Stem Bio can kind of crush through a lot of Marines. Lei wanting him to hold choke so they can just play a little bit defensive. Just continuing Ling production here. For, I think, all players. Looks like Hydra actually slipping in at least one additional drone. Starting to mine gas a little bit. Actually, we've been mining gas for a decent bit. The one thing about going 3-hatch Hydra is you kind of can't afford to mine gas. You actually need that extra like 1 or 2 drones on minerals to consistently pump up with 3 gas. So you typically want like 10 drones, 11 drones, and then you can kind of do it forever. But once you're on gas, at least if you have some of your drones on gas, you start having a hard time affording unless you make a few extra drones to kind of make up the difference. Looks like we're pushing into Protoss here. We have 2 defensive cannons and a decent number of Zealots, so if we play defensively, might be okay. It's just a lot of Ling though. Can be a little bit dangerous. But they're just going to play on the outside instead of full committing. Going to go after the gateways. Once again, we have DT coming out, but we have Overlords here. It's actually a very similar situation to Game 1 where DTs are making and we're shooting the gateways, but this time at least the DTs will get out. Looks like late calling for the commitment to the attack here. Kind of as the cannons are finishing, so maybe a little bit of anti-timing. DTs pop out here just to help with the DPS, and yeah, maybe if they'd gone a little bit sooner on just the 2 cannons they could have, but a bunch of cannons finish up, so we can no longer break this position. I actually really like this little kind of mini wall here with the Ling medic and bio here. Feels like that can fight a ton of Lings. DT committing into this even though there's the Overlord floating over here, so both DT gonna get picked off. aCe not really in a position where he can be killed. I kind of like the forward bunker. So the bunker will give the additional range. So that we can kind of kill like the extra like pylons and gateways and stuff while being out of range of the cannons. I think we just scanned 12 o'clock. Hydra has gone back into droning, so we're up to 17 drones right now. Did make it a 3 hatch for Lei, adding in a few more drones so we can actually afford that. Yeah, see, with the bunker coming up and the Marines going in, so now we're going to be shelling away at these pylons in this gateway here. Forward cannon gets thrown down, Lei jumps on top of it, just to kind of prolong the lifespan of the bunkers here. Yeah, unfortunately, we're a little bit of an ambitious bunker, kind of hoping your SCV doesn't troll you, but their SCVs, they always troll. A lot of Sunkens getting kind of creeped forward here from Hydra. It's an interesting way to play it. Typically you would like to do something like with a hatchery or something to kind of create like a partial wall with Sunkens around it if you're worried about getting hit with a bunch of bio Ling. This is just relatively vulnerable to the Ling bio. You just want to create a lot of same as like on Fighting Spirit, right? When they do like forward Evo chambers or even the Queen's Nest or something like that, kind of in the way of the Sunkens to split a bunch of the targeting. So this creep colony actually not being a Sunken is basically going to play that role a little bit, so it creates a little bit of a funnel. But I think we're not going to have enough Sunkens. Actually, we're definitely not going to have enough Sunkens. Spire about halfway done for Hydra right now, as this attacker's coming in, cleaning up the rest of these Sunkens. With all that getting cleaned up, we only have the 1 Sunken here to defend, with Lings just now kind of making not enough to fight this much bio, with +1 attack as well. Meanwhile, aCe kind of being boxed in by the bunkers here. Actually a pretty good play. I kind of like this play. Losing all the gateways too, eating into his production a fair amount, so it's making it very hard for him to break out. And now our drones are going down for Hydra, and I feel like we're going to be calling GG relatively soon. Just really good map control and army movement from Johnek and Lei. And GG is called, so game 2 goes to Johnek and Lei, winning BGH 2-0. So with that, we will be moving to fastest for our second set. Fastest is the primary map for Hydra and aCe. They'll be much more comfortable in the situation. Alright, I'm going to take like a short, like 2-minute break and get a little bit of water. Be back soon. Okay. we are going to jump into game 1 on fastest next. Spawning in the top left, we have Lei playing Protoss. This Johnek informing Lei that this is not his best map. I imagine BGH was also not his best map, since it seems like he didn't play it much, but this probably even more so. But yeah, Lei spawning top left, playing Protoss. 6 o'clock, his teammate Johnek as Terran. aCe, Protoss top right, teammate Hydra bottom left as Protoss as well. 3 Protosses and 1 Terran. So one thing I want to mention about the maps, it's kind of like a fun thing to keep in mind sometimes. So if you think about it, it's basically 3 different variations of like income, right? So Fighting Spirit being the lowest income, BGH being kind of the medium income, and fastest being the highest income. So typically the furthest someone gets away from their comfort zone, the like more lost or unsure they're going to be of what to do, right? So Fighting Spirit players, the low money players, when they get on fastest, it's going to be like way outside of their comfort zone, and that's kind of the thing that I personally like about BGH. It is kind of that middle ground where both teams, when they get there, it's kind of like they're not super sure what to do, but it's a bit more income, but it's not too much income, so it's kind of like that middle ground a little bit for a lot of these teams. At least that's how I see it. So Johnek, as a Fighting Spirit player, gets on fastest, and he's like, yeah, not my best map, so I get it. Alright, so 3-gate Forge coming down for aCe, 4-gate here for Lei. Gonna be 3-gate gas for Johnek going to Bio, and 3-gate Forge for Hydra as well. And yeah, so this is like a really common thing that you're gonna see. I feel like on fastest, and you actually will see it a fair amount in BGH as well, but especially on fastest, is if you have a Terran player, you're pretty much guaranteed to get cannon in. The only time that I feel like this can be avoided is maybe if you have a Zerg going like 9 pull or something like that, but I don't even know the pull timings exactly for Zerg on fastest. But here you see, you got 2 Zealots here to fight your Marines already, as 2 cannons are coming down. So on fastest, it just seems incredibly difficult to prevent this from going down. And pretty good micro from Hydra, move commanding into the the Marines, picking off several Marines and falling back. This will buy him time to get his cannons up. Lei does show up with 2 Zealots on the backside. Going to target one of the cannons down and get it cancelled, but the other one's going to go up. They are going to target it and potentially get it down. But the issue is, even though they've killed off the cannons or reset the cannons, they just don't have the macro to keep up with the amount of Zealots that are going to be coming out from their opponents. Good, we did play on TVB. On fastest, I feel like doing the colors like this ends up being important, especially since we have some pretty like light colors here. So I'm going to keep it like this for a little bit. Forward bunker tries to go down, but it's going to get picked off here. A lot of Zealots here coming down as we got 4 cannons coming up. So with 4 cannons, it's going to be a long time before Bio could ever bust out of this. And if he keeps adding cannons, then it's going to be even worse. Looks like we're just now hitting 100 gas here. We did start stem, but this means that Lei's going to be by himself against the double Protoss macro now. Even though he is on 4-gate, it's going to be a lot coming out. Forge is now coming down. Got even our back nexus going down because we're floating a fair amount of money. A lot of Zealots pushing through. Going to break through this front line of Lei. And, yeah, we don't have much to fall back to. Shield battery even coming down with 2 cannons. 2 Zealots, no more even close to popping right now, and he may actually just be dead here. Shield battery gonna buy it just a tiny bit of time, but not much. Pulling a few probes here to try and fight. But we are looking pretty dead. E4 go? Oh, okay, they're looking to go here mid. We did actually get 3 Zealots in here, I didn't even realize that, so because of that, the stem bio is actually gonna do really well here. I realized we had snuck a few zealots in there. I kind of like that. If Lei had actually been able to survive, this would have been a really, really good play. Because bio getting out on the map can be very, very powerful. If the macro is really strong. Because it's going to be like relatively low tech for the tosses. So you got Cybercore just now coming down. Because we got Citadel coming down for aCe here since he didn't have to make as many cannons. But with the Nexus going down, all the probes going down, Lei is looking pretty dead. We are going to clear up mid, but in this situation as Terran, it gets really, really tough really quickly. He's going to go for the counterattack, but we already have defensive cannons set up. And I can only imagine once we fail to get the push here, we just end up calling GG. Gonna stem forward, 3 more zealots come out for Hydra. And it's gonna be... oh, it's not even gonna be tough, it's gonna be impossible for the bio to get through all this. A lot of reinforcements coming in as well to help if he needs it, but he's not gonna need it. Does pick off the cannon, which does make the gateways here vulnerable. We're just going for a big counterattack and we have no bunker here, and he is called. Game 1 goes to aCe and Hydra on fastest. The power of double Protoss. Look at me being on top of my overlays and everything. Holy. Alright. Let's go ahead and jump straight into game 2 on passes here. Alright. Spawning in the 12 o'clock position, we have Johnek on his Terran again. I think Terran on fastest seems to be incredibly difficult to play. I've only played it a few times myself, and each time I played, I was a little bit lost on how to be a part of the early game. I don't know if mech is viable on fastest. I haven't really tried it very much yet, but bio seems to be pretty tough because you get cannon done, and there doesn't seem to be much about it. I'm sure there probably are answers, and I just don't know, as I am not an expert on this one. PP versus PP, yeah, I think it's tough. That's what I was saying, like, maybe with a Zerg you could go into bio. Like, maybe you could prevent the cannons with Zerg. I don't know the pull timings, as I was saying, but... not sure. But Johnek's teammate, Lei, spawning in the bottom left corner as Protoss, going up to 2 gate here. Against aCe, 6 o'clock. Also 2 gate, and Hydra going for 2 gate. I've only ever seen 2 gate, or 3 gate even, 3 gate, 4 gate, with Forge. Seems to be the way to do things. We're gonna get bio out of Johnek again. I will say positioning last game was definitely maybe worst case for scenario for Johnek being kind of like shared with Toss essentially. Makes it like extra hard to prevent getting cannon done, so at least he's a little bit further away from the fighting. That being said, Lei also is going to have a hard time getting to his teammate if he needs to help him bust any cannons. We'll see if there's anything different, or we'll just go 3-gate Forge for both players again, and we are in 3-gate Forge. And Lei probably going to go up to 4-gate again. Looks like we're pretty much mirroring the first game completely, as far as our openers go. Here we go, the pylon coming down, and this time Johnek going for the kind of forward bunker here to kind of get a little bit of a position. Bringing an extra SCV as well with the Marine. Actually really like this play, gonna get some pretty good damage on the probe, and not quite kill the probe, but he is at least gonna delay the cannon, so this is already a much better start for Johnek. Another forward bunker here that this bunker can kind of cover. Definitely want to make sure we don't lose any Marines. Losing any Marines right now is very painful because it's a lot of DPS loss. Pulls the SCV here pretty well. Can actually unload some Marines here and kind of jump forward, I think. Jump on top of this cannon. aCe unfortunately trolling just a little bit here. I mean, at least Johnek's making him work for it this time. It makes a huge difference. Love to see kind of jumping Marines forward into this forward bunker is a big part of it. Maybe a repair on the bunker as well. SCV gets targeted. 2 Marines die outside of the bunker. Feels like the right idea from Johnek, but maybe not the best execution. In the meantime, Lei going for counterattack here, just getting some probe damage. I mentioned this before. Pulling the probes here, like making a probe pull does more than just kind of interrupting mining a little bit. It does actually make a lot of them kind of remine. So you see how long it takes for these all to like start mining. Because they all kind of go onto the same patch and a lot of them don't split off, so it does actually reset the mining temporarily as well. So it's a little bit of additional damage. Lei was also getting counterattacked in the meantime. It looks like we lost several probes. And the 13 probes themselves, so both Hydra and Lei taking a lot of damage here from the counters, but Lei kind of getting the worst end of it a little bit and having to pull his probes here as well. Unfortunately, we were not able to stop the cannons from coming up. Could actually slip out the left side here a little bit, but with such a small amount of bio right now, it's not really going to be super effective. 3 zealots coming in for the counter as well, 3 being the magic number for one-shotting probes. Hydra immediately pulls his probes and starts kind of glitching out a little bit. So pretty good play, I think, to prevent him, because in the meantime, Lei was also getting counterattacked by aCe. Marines do come out on the left side, as I mentioned, and kind of start picking away at this a little bit, because you want to try and clean this up as much as possible, so you at least have a window to move out if possible. Zealot's joining in with the Marines here, but I think it's going to be... actually, it's looking pretty good for Lei and Johnek here. They're going to be able to clean up mid. So much better adaptation to what happened the first game by Johnek in general. I really like the play so far. Did go up to 5 barracks in the meantime, so he doesn't have to go tanks or anything like that early right now. So this feels pretty good for him. We got our medics out now. Zealots once again moving up to try and cover the Marines. That being said, pretty good surround coming through for aCe. A lot of Marines going down. Stem just barely about to finish here for Johnek. Maybe if we had Stem just a few seconds sooner, it could have been huge, but gonna be a little bit hard to hold here. Unloads, stems, and reloads. I actually really like this play a lot of the time. That being said, the bunker pretty exposed, does get full surrounded and goes down. Spinning up a lot of the zealots here, but it just keeps streaming through for Hydra and aCe. But I think we're gonna have just enough to push this back. Goon's coming out for aCe here. It's just close. This is a close kind of non-stop fight here. A little bit of a tug-of-war coming down. 2 extra bunkers coming down. Lots of stems coming down as well, trying to push forward and stop these cannons from going up. Just killing off whatever units they can. And it's just a non-stop rally from all 4 players in the mid here, trying to prevent these cannons coming up. Goon count is getting relatively high. The bunkers here finish. So I'm going to start trading relatively well here. So yeah, we're going to be forced to fall back to our cannons. But cannons are beginning to finish here. Once again, we unload the bunkers, stem forward again. Killing the cannons. Just non-stop fighting here. I love it. This is what I like to see. But the goon count's getting really, really high. We've basically bled off no goons at all from aCe, so looking really strong right now with his army count. Range just about to finish, but we have no SCVs here for the repair, and Lei is going to go ahead and call GG as his position was getting secured. In the meantime, Lei and Johnek, you kind of see the worker count very, like half of Soul aCe's right now, so aCe's macro was going to kick in and take over, even though it already kind of had, but it was just the worst from here. Game 2 going to go to Hydra and aCe on their map. Relatively decisively, I would say. Yeah, that's actually, so in my match, that's actually what I did when we played against G-Eazy and Bingo, whatever his name was. That's actually what I did. I was playing toss and I pulled 3 probes immediately. That actually worked really well. Alright, so our final match of the night is going to be on Fighting Spirit, the primary map for Johnek and Lei. Gonna take another 2-3 minute break, make sure my voice doesn't give out, and I'll be right back. Alright, gonna go into our final series of the night, playing on the Fighting Spirit now. The one thing, as we load into this, I'm curious about is how well Hydra might actually play, because I know Hydra, I always say I know, I believe he used to be an A rank Zerg on ladder, so I think it's been a while since he played, but he used to be at least a very high level player. So this may not be that uncomfortable for him. I'm curious to see if he actually plays this correctly, essentially. Or maybe some of his fastest playout style will take over. Anyway, that being said, Johnek and Lei. So Lei playing Zerg, bottom left. So I think Lei's main race may be Zerg. I think he was picking Zerg on BGH. But he said he will 9 hatch. So 9-9, I guess. I actually didn't know that 9-9 was a thing on the Fighting Spirit, but we may end up seeing 9-9 here. His teammate though, Johnek, definitely a Terran player. We played Terran every game so far. Spawning on the top right. Hydra as Zerg, top left, and aCe, bottom right, as Protoss. So it's kind of interesting to see Hydra. I think he was picking Zerg for BGH and now low money. So it seems like Zerg is his like comfort race, yet on fastest he just knows. People just know Protoss on BGH. Pretty broken. Or not BGH fastest. Flying says if play with Lei some, he's pretty flexible race-wise. Probably just pick Terran because of Zerg because of Terran ally. That would actually make a lot of sense. Yeah, Zerg's pretty good with Terran. You definitely don't want double Terran. I know that. And then toss Terran, I think doesn't really feel that good either. So you almost always see one Zerg teammate in low money. I feel like one Zerg teammate in Fighting Spirit's like almost mandatory. At a high level. I could be wrong about this. Again, I'm not, I'm no expert on the matter, but it just seems like Zerg is so good for its map control. Okay, so I wasn't looking, but it looks like we are doing 9-9. So we did 9 hatch, 8 pull. I think we remade a drone, and then gas here. Protoss random versus Protoss random fastest. Gotcha. Okay. So 2-gate coming down for aCe. Johnek going bio here. Play saying he doesn't even need his Marines. Get him out of here. Johnek probably going to ignore him and send the Marine across anyway, just for the Overlord. I think that's what he's thinking, right? We're just coming across for the Overlord. Because he knows that Hydra picks Zerg here. The only thing that makes sense to me. So Hydra definitely seems to be picking, so moving the Marine straight across to try and intercept the Overlord. SCV going to get up here, run into the Zealot. Not going to get inside. It's just going to be 2-gate production here for the toss. Hydra's Lings are going to get here, but we already have the 2-hatch Ling production started for Lei. So Lei going to have more than enough Lings, especially with the ramp advantage. We're going to jump on top of this Overlord, and if we lose this Overlord, it is incredibly painful. Losing an Overlord when you open 9 pull like this. If it was 9 pull, I know I get caught up with a lot of other things sometimes I'm not paying attention, but I think this was 9 pull, maybe over pull. Lings coming in with the Zealots here, but pretty good arc setup by the Lings. Also have them Marine for additional DPS if we need it, but it's just going to stay on the Overlord for now. But I mean, we have a lot of Ling production. 2 extra drones kind of pulled in case we need it for the extra DPS and kind of blocking, messing with the AI a bit. Overlord does go down, so Hydra being blocked here. Stunting his Ling production for now. Marine moves over to the ramp to start trading on the ramp as well, just the additional range DPS. So really, really good hold here for Lei. Not going to take any damage at all. So this feels like a really good start. Lair halfway done now. Hydra's lair not even started yet, not even mining gas, so you're going to need to try and get damage done onto the lair, which is going to be incredibly difficult. Yeah, the Marine coming over was pretty huge. Seems like it made a pretty big difference here. Because not only did we get the Overlord, but the extra DPS on the ramp is just really nice. Meanwhile, we got 3rd racks coming down for Johnek. Academy going up here in the corner here, just about to finish. Yeah, I like that Lei told him he doesn't want the Marine, and Johnek's like, no, this is the correct play, you're getting a Marine. Cyber Core just about to finish up for aCe here. Just continuing on our 2-gate production in the meantime. Probe count actually looking pretty decent for aCe. aCe has been pretty good about workers, it feels like. Compared to the other players, he's been the best for worker production on every single map. So I will give aCe props for that. And worker production can be very underestimated on BGH as well. But he was very good about it on fastest, and actually was doing pretty good on BGH, so I feel like that's one thing aCe has been doing pretty consistently well, is his worker production. But with the Sunken and the Marine up here, it feels like this is unbreakable. No problem. Spire coming down, but yeah, we're just now back on gas a little bit. We don't even have enough minerals to afford our layers, so I don't know if they... I guess they don't know the layer timing here for Lei. But even if they did, it feels like this position's unbreakable. Johnek just continue to mass up. Got a fireback coming out. I imagine range, or stem finished by now. But, you know, range coming down now. Meanwhile, Forge and Citadel? Nope, going Robo. Going Robo. Are we looking for Reaver? It's gonna be Reaver Tech? Don't have money right now, though. But honestly, looking at the game state, it feels like once Muta comes out, Hydra just dies. And yeah, it is going to be Robo Bay coming down. This is a tough situation. They don't have the intel, so Hydra doesn't know how far behind his Spire is right now. Meanwhile, we have a pretty large bio ball here from Johnek, so it doesn't feel like he's going to be breakable either. Especially if he decides to use the ramp if it does get pushed. So Lei and Johnek just kind of sitting back, enjoying their tech advantage right now with the meter coming out. And feels like no amount of links would ever be able to push through this. Looks like we're actually going to go for it. But stim comes down. Quick stim on all the units, and yeah, as you can see, just absolutely crushing the lings. I think maybe one Marine died, maybe 0. Here with the meters coming out, we have Inspired about a third of the way done for Hydra. Sees the meter coming. And I expect we're just going to see a GG here. Losing any drones in this situation. And it's always like this for Zerg. Evo Chamber just now coming down. I mean, it's going to be forever before we can get spores, and we won't even have the economy for it, I think. Yeah, even if this was only like 3-4 drone kills, it would be huge, because like, look at the worker count, right? Zerg losing drones is always very painful on these low money maps. Looks like we may go for one desperation hit. Zerg probably would have been their best bet. They have no anti-air. But this bio ball feels untouchable. I guess with a Reaver, they are flying in with a Reaver as well. So with a good Reaver shot, this could actually be doable. I just don't know how aCe... we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But if we can get some fat Reaver shots and actually kill off the Terran, but I mean, Terran seems like it's going to take forever just to break through all this. First Reaver shot is pretty huge. That's a really, really good start. But if we see the meter just fly straight across as well, that would be good enough. Yeah, with all the drones killed, the meters are going to come across here. And even having this forward turret here just makes a big difference because it kind of messes with the micro a bit. Really good kind of abuse of the terrain here with the turret. The turret actually picks off the middle as well. Reaver gets a few more decent shots off, but the meter going to show up and finish this off. I mean, the Reaver definitely did work, but at the end of the day, we have no answer for the air, so GG is called, and Game 1 on Fighting Spirit will go to Lei and Johnek. Alright, let's just hop straight into the second game. No breaks. No break needed. Too random. Oh, they're saying they picked a random. Interesting. So aCe landed on Zerg and Hydra landed on aCe. So they played random and they swapped races, basically. I actually like that call. I did the same thing in BWCL. I was playing with someone and we were playing against double Zerg. And we didn't really know how to deal with the double Zerg, so we just started... We lost the first game and then we just both picked random for the next 2 games and won. Yeah, so if you're not confident you can beat your opponents, I actually like the play of just kind of making it a little bit weird. I'm gonna play or watch this a lot more on TVV because both the Zergs are pretty much the same color. aCe and Lei here. So yeah, that being said, it is the same matchup, just swapped races for Hydra and aCe here. But it looks like Johnek told Lei to go 9 pool. That being said, we are doing overpool, so not going 9-9. A little bit earlier lings with slightly more eco than a 9 pool. 9-9, maybe not being super comfortable just in case it's a double Zerg. I think double Zerg, a double 9 pool, will just be able to kind of run through a 9-9. Or if they go earlier pool even. So Johnek, understandably, and Lei as well, not wanting to take any risk and lose to anything weird. That being said, I didn't see the pull timing, and I'm really bad about this when I'm talking. But And I don't know timers super well. This is not a 9 pull. I think it was like an 11 pull, possibly. 11 or 12, but I think 11 pull is what we're looking at. Gonna be bio here for Johnek again. And we're going core here for Hydra. I kind of like this, right? With a Zerg teammate, if your Zerg is going early lane, I like Goon. I'm a big fan of Goons anyway. But in theory, your Zerg matches their Zerg, and then you have Goons to fight the Terran. Overlord's going to fly in here. We're going to see the very quick lair timing. It is lair before link speed as well. So they going for very, very fast link as a response to seeing the Goon. I think is actually what made him call it, or maybe just Protoss in general. Link's moving out here for Hydra. It is 6 vs 6 Ling here. Lei's setting up a bit of a pre-arc. Oh, Robo. We're rushing Robo for Hydra. Very interesting. So they're wanting to make it really weird. Once again, though, Johnek really good about sending his Marines up here to catch the Overlord. I don't know if he just preemptively was doing that just in case. No, I'm sorry. The Overlord's cross paths, actually, so very smart by Johnek. He identified the Overlord coming this way, sends the 2 Marines up here and gets another Overlord snipe. And yeah, losing like this is incredibly painful. Spire already coming down here for Lei, like, very, very quickly. And now we're just going to keep massing Ling. He has the Overlord here watching, sees that there's no anti-air on the way. No lair, nothing like that. So just his tech alone already putting a ton of pressure here on aCe and Hydra. We're pushing through this. There's only this small gap here for them to go through. So pretty hard to attack into this. Goon does come out. We're just going straight for Reaver for Hydra. Which is a very interesting play. With the opponent going fast Spire here. Cannon coming down. Looks like we are supply blocked actually. We're just now starting the pylon, so this is actually really, really hurts. We're going for this Reaver rush, but we get supply blocked at a really poor timing. The mutas are actually going to be out before your Reaver rush is out. That doesn't feel very good. We are getting spores here for aCe, so at least we're not going to die to the muta. But we don't really have an answer, right, coming up for the muta. Goon moving up to pick off Marines, which is really kind of a cute move, but the mutas do come out, finish off this Goon here. Gonna push this back. Second cannon coming down and Reaver, but the problem is you can't really fly across with this Reaver, and we, like I said, we don't have any answer for the muta. Like, we're not gonna die, right? We do have that going for us, but the muta can cover the ramp here and allow the bio to come up here, and we don't have any anti-bio. That's the case. See if that's the play that they're gonna go for here. Reaver gets loaded up, and we're gonna be flying upwards potentially. Could be pretty bad. If we run into the muta, then we just end up losing this for free. Stargate coming down now for Corsair. I do like the idea of Corsair Reaver, but I feel like in this case, because you saw the layer, that Corsair before Reaver could have been a lot better. You'd have to get like cannons up here to cover your ramp for bio, but at least you can contest the air a little bit. Looks like aCe, worried about his teammate getting attacked, does come out, starts getting called here by the mutas. Gonna bleed off a few lings here. Runs into the bio, all the lings die except for just these 2. Spire coming down here for aCe, a lot of static defense coming up. Gonna get 2 Sunkens here, which 2 Sunkens positioned well with the lings actually would be enough. We also have the Reaver flanking here, so I feel like this bio actually might get cleaned up relatively easily. Gotta be careful not to let it die to the muta. Didn't dud too, that was pretty close. Very close to dudding. So an interesting base setup, but I think we're pretty safe at least. Okay, good. Good unload to make sure our Reaver doesn't die with it. Decent Reaver shot. Muta's going to jump on top of the Reaver. We have the 2 spores here picking away at the Muta. Reaver does go down, but all the bio gets cleaned up. So we'll lose this outside hatchery, but we are going to stay alive. In the meantime, drone count-wise, aCe actually has more drones than Play as well. Factory coming down, 3-gate bio here. Extra goons coming down, Corsair. New Reaver, new shuttle. Scourge come out, but unfortunately 2 of them die. Yeah, the Scarab shots were pretty good. It's really interesting seeing Reaver in these situations, but it's not something you see normally, but it's kind of working decently. Like, both games, I definitely see some amount of potential. The problem we're having is just Muta, right? We're having a really hard time with Muta. Muta coming here, but we have Reaver or Corsair goons, so the Muta's not going to get anything done. A lot of Ling bio though coming up here. We do have Mutas coming out for aCe. aCe, despite this like ugly base, actually managed to stabilize in a way where he has more economy than Lei. Kinda like it. Problem is, his Muta count will pretty much never be able to catch up, so we need... Essentially, we need to find a way for our teammate to kill Muta without losing any of our own Muta. And it's going to be pretty tough with Bio, obviously, attacking into our base right now. Our Spire, unfortunately, is like really exposed. Yeah, with the Spire going down, this is going to hurt a lot. Lead off a few of our Muta as well. A lot of Muta Ling coming in now. We do have 2 Corsair and a Reaver showing up. Corsair unfortunately get a bit separated, not being microed super well, so both Corsair go down. Muta count for Lei also very high, we're at 12 Mutas here in this group. Gonna turn around the goons. Reaver does clean up here again, so the Reaver's doing really, really well against the bio. But yeah, unfortunately we did lose our Corsair. We're getting the +1. I honestly feel like if the Corsair didn't get picked off there, we weren't in the worst position, actually. Because we'd be going up to Corsair 4. I think this would be, yeah, 4 Corsair now with +1 on the way. But Muta's in the base, pick off a couple goons. We don't even lose another Muta, looks like. Yeah, without losing Spire and the 2 Corsair, they actually would be in a legitimately good spot. Corsair, just mind of their own, gonna chase the Muta all the way back. Oh, I'm sorry, I was not paying attention. I apologize. Looks like we had a big attack going down here. We do actually lose the Reaver to the Sunken, which is a bit painful, but I like the Muta counterattack. Even though we don't have many Muta here. Knocking Lei down to just 5 drones only. So aCe and Hydra are putting up a really good fight here in game 2. Very odd gameplay, odd style. And it seems to be kind of difficult for Lei and Johnek to play against a little bit. Honestly, they cleaned up a few small mistakes, like you said. The Spire being exposed and losing the Corsair. Even Wraith coming in as well. Making Corsair even better. I didn't realize this. We're on 3 Stargate Wraith now. That's wild. I guess because we don't want to deal with the Reaver. That is one way to avoid the Reaver, is just make only air. But Corsair actually does really good against Wraith as well, in high numbers. I mean, we've bled off, I think, 4 or 5 Corsair more or less for free. If we were up to, you know, 6-7 Corsair with +1, it actually would kind of crush what's in the air right now. Especially with Muta coverage as well. So, I like the idea, just the execution wasn't quite there. Pretty decent micro from Solace as well. Not looking too uncomfortable with his Muta. Now we have a Muta and 1 Corsair, sorry, a Reaver and 1 Corsair, and a few cannons against all this Muta and Wraith. And I just don't think we have enough anti-air left over for all of this. Only 2 goons left to fight all these, and they're just going to be targeting the probes. GG is called, and that is going to do it for our games today. So all in all, we have a 2-0 on BGH for Lei and Johnek, a 2-0 for Hydra Soul, or Hydra and aCe on Fastest, 2-0 on Fighting Spirit for Johnek and Lei. So let me update the scores. Oh, you already did it? Okay. Flying on top of it. That's 6 and... Okay. So here's the updated scores, guys, after the matches today. And tomorrow I will be casting 24H versus Zero and Johnek, the winners from today. And after that, our group stages will be done, and we'll be running finals next week, which I don't have an exact time yet. We're still working on the time, but I should be able to live cast the finals, I'm hoping. But I will probably do a stream at some point next week before then, an announcement on the stream as well. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today. Crazy. It was an hour and 20 minutes. I was hoping that after I did this a fair amount, my voice would get better at it, but yeah, we're still struggling. Maybe eventually. Okay, so for me, my plan, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, but I'm going to come back and I'm probably going to play a lot of ladder tonight on stream. I have to play against Dragon tomorrow, and I think Dragon's going to crush me, but I at least want to try to make it a decent game. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, tomorrow I will be starting my cast the exact same time as I did today, which is 3 p.m. Central. And I think tomorrow's series is going to be pretty exciting with 24H and Johnek and Zero. So it should be a really good series. But that's going to be it for me. I will be back in 2 or 3 hours probably. Like I said, I'm going to take a short break and I'll be streaming some ladder. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.